thinking when Jamie was speaking that it's probably the 21st anniversary of a meeting we held just after the 1992 election debacle, remember. We sat here stunned at the outcome, and of course it led on to other things, notably the sit-in and all the rest of it, and here we are today 14 years on, which is quite a remarkable thing that we've had a parliament only for 14 years, and the game is still ongoing. It's a great pleasure and privilege to introduce this and these speakers, and it's, as you know, it's a bit like herding cats to keep them to roughly time. But I don't want this to be a sort of they speak, you listen job. Neither do I want it to be the other way around, that they listen and you speak. So we'll try and manage that as best we can. I think it's fair to say that left nationalism, or the nationalist left, is the centre of common sense. I don't mean that in a political sense. The central common sense of Scotland. And it has been for such considerable time. You can tell that, of course, by the fact that the party divides across that spectrum are fierce and at times difficult. So this is a great event. My task is purely to introduce the speakers and then to manage the affairs. When we get round to asking questions, if you would just say who you are, that would be very helpful. I'm going to introduce them. There's no particular order, but I've asked Margot to go first. Margot will address you in a seated position. She said to me that most people think that Margot has hold of a lectern, but actually she's going to do this sitting down. Margot needs absolutely no introduction. Margot is one of the few people in politics, never mind Scottish politics, who people know by their first name. If you said Margot, people know who you meant. There are very, very few, if any, who have that accolade or recognition, and we're delighted to have you here. Well,
I think so, Melba.
Your shoes. Well, yes. There were other cases, of course, and James Mitchell, who I saw earlier, can't be here tonight, said, "Ah, yes, that's true." He said, "Well, there's Winnie and there's Wendy, both W's, so you are in that kind of thing." Professional troublemaker, Margot, and Margot will speak first. Then there is Joyce. Joyce Miller, who again needs no introduction, journalist and must-read theatre critic. Joyce works for The Scotsman, which, as they say, is not at all the paper it used to be. I don't know. It's not a personal point. It's not aimed at Joyce, but I'm afraid I gave up buying The Scotsman when I was, not personally, but most of us, I suspect, in this room, all of us in this room, were accused of being, by Andrew Neil, the blethering classes. So I'm afraid we just left the ship. But I noticed in today's digital version, they had a story about the Theresa May flying in visit. And what would we do? Where is the Scottish MI5? And there was a headline that said something like, Scotland has to find its own spies. You're ahead of me. SPYS. SPYS. I thought, well, to think it's come to this. Joyce again needs no introduction, but is not representing the Musical Revolutionaries. Robin McAlpin, over on my left, my extreme left, edits Scottish Left Review and is director of the Jimmy Reid Foundation. I'm glad to see it wasn't made polite and called the James Reid Foundation. We would wonder who James Reid was. Anyway, the Jimmy Reid Foundation, and so Robin will go next. In the absence of Andy Whiteman, who may or may not appear, Owen will follow. Owen Dudley Edwards, academic, scholar, all-round good citizen. Owen covers so much ground that not for nothing is his surname plural. There's definitely got to be more than one Owen Dudley Edwards. So Owen will follow, and we'll hear from Andy as and when. The one thing these speakers have in common, of course, is that many things, but one thing they have is, as they say from my part of the world, they're all thran folk, completely and utterly. For those of you who are not from these parts, it means stubborn, awkward, cussed, or whatever. But certainly they are all thran, and they celebrate their thranness. So, without further ado, I'm going to remove the lectern, and Margot will address you from a seated position. Thank you.